Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Ahsoka series, The Mandalorian Season 3 and more. Before we dive into it my dear friends, as always, please be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down below if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted every single time I post a new video. But as we say around these parts, without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to start with Star Wars Ahsoka, and a brand new line of merch which has just hinted at the future of Ahsoka's story in Star Wars. Full credit goes to Only Nerds Online for highlighting this, and I also want to say a special thanks to my good friend Star Wars Santa who pointed this out. So if you think back to April of this year, LRM Online reported that Lucasfilm had trademarked the term Skywalker Academy. This got the internet buzzing, but LRM at the time reported not to get too excited because this was going to be for a future clothing line. But what they didn't know at the time is that the clothing line, which we finally got a look at the other day, has teased something huge. In a picture posted by Michael Siglain, who is the creative director for Lucasfilm Publishing, we see the launch of Emma Camden's new Star Wars novel Ronin, which as we know is a continuation of Star Wars Visions, and they celebrated the launch alongside the Bring Home the Bounty merch campaign in Times Square, and as a part of this launch we see merch for upcoming Star Wars content. As you can see, there's a Book of Boba Fett t-shirt, some Grogu merch and so on, but then we have the big centerpiece, the Skywalker Academy t-shirt. At first, it doesn't look like much, but as Only Nerds Online pointed out, there is something massive about it. In the bottom corner of the t-shirt, which I've highlighted with a red circle, there's a symbol that is very familiar. We see a lightsaber in the middle going up and splitting into a cross, kind of like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, and at the bottom we see SW Star Wars. But it's the two outer parts highlighted in yellow that are of interest. As you can see, the pattern matches none other than Ahsoka Tano's face markings. And this has gotten a lot of fans wondering, is Skywalker Academy something bigger than simply just a clothing line? If it was meant as a clothing line, why is there a secondary logo in the corner, and why is it Ahsoka's markings? What's very clear about this picture is that it relates to something about the future of Ahsoka Tano and maybe even Grogu and Luke. We know that Luke is setting up his Jedi Academy during this point in the timeline after The Mandalorian Season 2, and considering he just acquired Grogu, this may be relating to them, and it could tie into Ahsoka. Including Ahsoka might mean that Lucasfilm have plans to incorporate her in the Skywalker Academy, which could mean that she ends up helping Luke Skywalker in finding younglings and training them. For a long time, fans have wanted to see Ahsoka and Luke interact, and considering both characters came back in The Mandalorian Season 2, going forward in her own spin-off series, this is definitely a possibility. So in other words, Star Wars just accidentally teased what's to come for Ahsoka, and that she could very well run into Luke. Now we don't know what Skywalker Academy is going to be, but given that Disney Plus Day is just under a month away, we could be getting a surprise announcement for an upcoming series which we don't know about. But this symbol or logo or whatever you want to call it is very interesting and a great spot. I'm absolutely fascinated by Ahsoka's story going forward. The Ahsoka series is going to be huge with Mandalorian fans, Rebels fans and Clone Wars fans, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of overlap with The Mandalorian and of course with Luke and Grogu going forward. For such a beloved character who fans have watched growing up over the years, it would be such a waste to not have her interact with the son of her former master. We also need Luke to tell Ahsoka that in the end, Anakin turned back to the light, because she doesn't know yet. And with regards to Grogu, I've always believed the two of them would cross paths again, as we saw in Chapter 13. Even though she refused to train Grogu and sent him and Din to Tython, I truly still believe that Lucasfilm want to do more with their stories and they're going to intertwine in some way. So there probably is going to be more Ahsoka-Grogu interaction in store for the future. Now when it comes to the Ahsoka series, I always find it hard to talk about because we all want the show so badly, but it's still a couple of years away. In the meantime, we can speculate and get the hype train going. After Obi-Wan Kenobi, I definitely think the Ahsoka series is going to be one of the most in-demand Star Wars projects of all time. Ahsoka has become symbolic in her own right, and considering she appeared over 13 years ago for the first time, at this point there's an entire generation of fans who knew her as their Star Wars hero from childhood. What I'm saying is we should not underestimate just how big this series is going to be and just how popular it's going to be with fans. And Lucasfilm know how badly we want to see what happens to her and what happened to her friend Ezra Bridger when he got launched into hyperspace with Grand Admiral Thrawn. And the fact that Lucasfilm are throwing in Rebels characters like Thrawn, Ezra, Sabine, Wren and maybe others, and then you factor in that it's a Filoni project, I think it's guaranteed to be a winner. So awesome stuff there guys. and now we're going to move on and talk about The Mandalorian Season 3. We have some new set photos which may reveal a new planet. Let's take a look at the set photos and what this article has to say. As Mandalorian fans, it's been a long year, between various production delays, a few controversies here and there, and the fact that Rangers of the New Republic was shelved temporarily. It really feels like we've had more than our fair share of setbacks. The good news though is that production for The Mandalorian Season 3 is well underway. I covered this a couple of days ago with the Carl Weathers news because he's going to film his scenes as Greef Karga, but filming has been going for a few weeks now, and we finally have some set photos which could reveal a new planet. Now with the whole strike issue, guys, as you know, I stand with those workers, so even if The Mandalorian Season 3 is delayed, as long as those workers are fairly compensated, I'm happy to wait for The Mandalorian. And the reason I bring this up is that even though The Mandalorian has begun filming, it might be delayed quite significantly when the strikes go ahead. But having said that, no more jibber jabber, let's take a look at this. The photos reveal a maze of streets that are largely obscured by blue temporary walls. This is unsurprising given the cloak and dagger nature of Filoni's productions, and how secretive Favreau and Filoni were when it came to The Mandalorian Season 2. If you remember, they went so far as to convince cast and crew members that the Jedi cameo at the end was going to be Plo Koon. But perhaps the most intriguing photo from these new photos is the outdoor set that we see in this picture. It's also worth noting that the style and colour palette of the streets in this photo is different than the physical set element showed in the previous one, which evokes an Imperial style or even that of Tantive 4. It's really hard to work out what these photos are of. It's very early in production, but it does look like a new planet we haven't seen before. The article goes on to say, it is of course also possible that the new set means that we're headed to Mandalore. While very few details are known about the plot of The Mandalorian Season 3, it's pretty much a given that we're going to see Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and their dispute over the Darksaber. We also know that Giancarlo Esposito is back as Moff Gideon, as well as Carl Weathers as Greef Karga. As for Temuera Morrison and Ming-Na Wen, they're back much sooner in the Book of Boba Fett this December the 29th to be more specific. I really can't wait for The Mandalorian Season 3. I've been going back and rewatching Season 2 all over again, and I really want to relive that amazing hype and feeling of getting a brand new season of Mando. We don't have to wait very long though, because the Book of Boba Fett, a spin-off of The Mandalorian, is just around the corner. December is going to hit us before we know, and from there on out, it's really going to be a storm of content. 2022 is going to be jam-packed with Star Wars episodes. After the Book of Boba Fett, we're getting Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Bad Batch Season 2, and hopefully The Mandalorian Season 3. But I suspect that The Mandalorian is going to be postponed. Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi are already in post-production, so those have wrapped up. So no real worries with those ones. But what do you guys make of this and everything we spoke about in today's video? What did you think of the Ahsoka news and of course The Mandalorian Season 3 set photos? If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to show me some love with a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new and a massive welcome if you are, and also my friends, if you're feeling generous, please consider becoming a patron. The link is down there and you get exclusive access to my Discord, videos that are not found here on YouTube, and much more. But otherwise, my dear friends, may the Force be with you. I'm Star Wars Meg and I'm wishing you a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.